if the public is going to have the confidence that it should in the justice system. Yeah.
And you mentioned in your opening remarks that upholding the rule of law requires investment, and throughout some of what you shared with us, that's a theme that keeps coming back. And one area in which there are campaigners who have campaigned for investment is when it comes to court transcripts, particularly victims who want to see what's been said.
Yes.
I speak as someone who's been a victim in a Crown Court trial where it's been impossible because of the financial barriers to get a transcript of what happened and why decisions might have been made that were made. And I wonder whether you feel that the failure at the moment of our system to provide that to victims and indeed others represents a kind of falling short of upholding the rule of law.
Yes, it's a complicated area. It's not as simple as you might think. You would imagine, oh, well, it's just easy to get a transcript. It's not actually, because lots of hearings, there is no transcript produced at the time, and a judge often has to approve a transcript, sometimes many months after the event. And of course, if you want a transcript of a hearing, that will involve a judge or somebody sitting for days and days and days in a court that will have to be set aside for the exercise to prepare the transcript. So I think the answer to your question is, I think there is movement on this. I think there are some new policies, aren't there? The government has brought in some new procedures for allowing access to transcripts, and I do understand the desire for access, but I do think you need to look at the resource implications, particularly in terms of judicial time for that, and getting the balance right, particularly in the current climate. So it's a question of degree almost. I mean, are you asking for a transcript of 5 days of evidence? Obviously, in the higher courts, for something like sentencing remarks, the judges will be able to give you a written set of sentencing remarks at the time. The real problem is when you're doing 6 or 7 sentences in a day, you won't have anything that you can share in terms of notes, and it can become incredibly time-consuming to provide transcripts of all of those. So I understand the concerns and the desire for access, and as you know, I'm a passionate advocate for transparency and open justice. It's, as it were, it's the practical consequences and difficulties that can arise that perhaps inhibit it being quite as easy as you would like.
What extent have you explored using artificial intelligence?
I think this is an obvious area where we could really begin to use AI.
It's